Nation.
Dante's Boxing Nation, what's going on, guys? So it was just reported yesterday that according to Bob Arum, Manny Pacquiao, he'll be making his return to the ring, and his next opponent will most likely be either Danny Garcia, Jesse Vargas, or the winner of Terrence Crawford versus Victor Postol that takes place next weekend, next Saturday. Now, what's interesting to me is, first of all, the fact that Bob Arum, he is still talking about Pacquiao possibly fighting against Terrence Crawford, assuming Crawford beats Victor Postol. We all know that Bob Arum, he's been trying to make this fight for the longest. Bob Arum has been aggressively pushing for this Crawford versus Pacquiao fight ever since Pacquiao lost to Floyd Mayweather and planned on making his ring return. Now, what we know for a fact is, because of what Manny Pacquiao's advisor, Michael Kantz, just recently said about 2 weeks ago, he just basically admitted that Team Pacquiao, they never had any intentions of ever fighting Terrence Crawford. I mean, a lot of us had already knew that, but Michael Kantz, he just basically confirmed that. So, you know, the fact that Bob Arum is still saying that he wants to either match Pacquiao up with Danny Garcia, Jesse Vargas, or Terrence Crawford, just know that that's what Bob Arum wants to do. This doesn't guarantee this is what Manny Pacquiao wants to do. But what's interesting about those three fights is all three of those fights are very dangerous fights for Manny Pacquiao. I think the consensus is the majority of people would automatically assume that Jesse Vargas would probably be the weakest link out of the three. He fights against Terrence Crawford. I mean, don't get me wrong. I see that as a very competitive fight. I see that as being Terrence Crawford's toughest fight. Pacquiao has a chance, but I think all of us would lean towards Terrence Crawford, right? Now, with Manny Pacquiao, he's talking about moving back down to 140, at least according to Freddie Roach, his trainer. If he moves down to 140, the only option he has there, according to Bob Arum, is Terrence Crawford. Right? So Manny Pacquiao is in a bit of a tough conundrum right now, because now he doesn't really have a Tim Bradley option. He doesn't really have a Chris Algieri option. All three of these options are very tough fights for Manny Pacquiao. So it's going to get interesting, guys. This is going to get really, really interesting, because Manny Pacquiao is going to be forced to step up in competition when he makes his ring return. Now, I'm starting to believe that he may go with Jesse Vargas. Danny Garcia, though, that would be another great fight. And I'll be honest with you, I might even lean towards Danny Garcia in that fight. I think Danny Garcia does really good against southpaws. When he fought against Zab Judah, I was really impressed the way Danny Garcia was able to nullify and negate Zab Judah's left hand. Zab Judah could not land that left hand for at least the 3/4 of the fight. You know, it wasn't until the last quarter of the fight, like the championship rounds, Zab Judah finally caught Danny Garcia with that left hand. But Danny was doing a terrific job circling to his right and avoiding Zab Judah's power punch, which was the straight left. I believe it would be the same thing in this fight. That would be a great fight. Danny Garcia has a really good jab. A lot of people, they basically stereotype Danny Garcia as just being a wild puncher, but I don't think that's the case. I mean, he does telegraph his hook every now and then, but outside of that, I truly believe Danny Garcia, he is a very naturally skilled fighter. He has a great jab. I think his defense is a little underrated. I mean, no doubt about it, he showed some chinks in his armor against Lamont Peterson. He started to come a little unraveled in the later rounds. He started to slow down, and Lamont Peterson, he started to take charge in the later half of that fight. But against Manny Pacquiao, I think Manny Pacquiao's style would be perfect for Danny Garcia's. Now, even though I say that, I'm still not picking Danny Garcia, at least not right now. It's a little too early. I'll wait to see what actually happens. That's a 50-50 fight. I would love to see a Pacquiao versus Danny Garcia fight. And then you have Jesse Vargas. Like I said earlier in the video, I truly believe that Team Pacquiao, they would look at Jesse Vargas as the weakest link. They would look at him as the least experienced of the bunch. And they could be right or they could be wrong, but we'll see. We'll see. You know, I'm just hoping, I would prefer, of course, to see Pacquiao versus Terrence Crawford, because it's going to be somewhat of a crossroads type of fight. It's going to either be Terrence Crawford receiving the torch from Manny Pacquiao and becoming the new Manny Pacquiao of top-ranked promotions, or it's going to be a resurrection of Manny Pacquiao pulling off the upset, which would be kind of reminiscent of Roberto Duran when he lost to Sugar Ray Leonard by infamously saying "no mas." And then he comes back when his career is on a decline. He goes in there against a big favorite, a young undefeated American fighter by the name of Davey Moore, who was on a 9-fight KO streak. It was supposed to be a passing of the torch, but instead it was a resurrection of Roberto Duran's career. And he won the fight by knockout. Very impressive knockout, by the way. And that win kind of made Roberto Duran feel a little better for him losing to Sugar Ray Leonard. To me, this is the situation that Manny Pacquiao is in right now. I told you guys, right after Manny Pacquiao, he lost to Floyd Mayweather. Even after he beat Tim Bradley, and he looked very impressive in the Tim Bradley fight, I told you guys that I didn't think that Manny Pacquiao was going to retire, and the reason why is because when fighters on that level, when they lose a fight at that magnitude, the fight of the decade, Mayweather versus Manny Pacquiao, when you lose a fight like that, the majority of fighters, they stay chasing that loss for a very long time. That's the reason why Manny Pacquiao was not satisfied with retiring, because no matter what excuses fans tried to make for Manny Pacquiao losing to Floyd Mayweather, deep down, Manny Pacquiao, he's saying to himself, it doesn't matter what excuses people made. At the end of the day, I lost. I lost the fight of the decade, and I have to live with that for the rest of my life. That's how Pacquiao looks at it. Yeah, it's no different than, you know, my son, and, you know, he boxes, and when we go to these tournaments, you hear it all the time. You go to the Nationals, you watch these amateur fights, and soon as a kid loses, the first thing a lot of these kids say is their kid got robbed. Sometimes the kid did get robbed, but then other times that kid he clearly lost the fight, right? But everyone says, yeah, he got robbed. It's like you have to say that to the parents just to make them feel better. Like, yeah, your son got robbed, right? This is pretty much what fans did with Manny Pacquiao. Oh, yeah, you're right. Yeah, Manny, it was your shoulder. Oh, yeah, it was this, it was that. Oh, don't worry about it. They try to find ways to inspirit Manny Pacquiao. And that's only a very temporary fix, because once Manny Pacquiao gets home and once he has nothing but his thoughts, then the reality sets in that he lost and there are no excuses. You finished second place. So this is the reason why I truly believe Manny Pacquiao, he wants to return. I believe he still wants a rematch with Floyd Mayweather. I don't know if it's ever going to happen again, but for now, he's most likely going to be fighting one of these guys right here. And once again, it could just be like the Roberto Duran situation, where Roberto Duran, he almost found gratification by beating a young, undefeated lion like David Moore. But we'll see. We'll see what happens. So these are Manny Pacquiao's options, and from this point on, it looks like Manny Pacquiao, he's going to have to face tough competition from this point on, because Bob Arum doesn't have a whole lot of opponents for Manny Pacquiao to face, but a lot of young lions. And then you have the fighters that are signed to Al Heyman that Manny Pacquiao now can fight, which are a whole bunch of other lions. I know Manny Pacquiao, he wanted that Adrian Broner fight, and it's very possible that Adrian Broner, he could come back to the table. According to Bob Arum, Adrian Broner wanted more money than Manny Pacquiao, and that's why that fight didn't come to fruition. So we'll see, guys. We'll see what happens. We'll see who Manny Pacquiao picks as his next opponent. Matter of fact, let's go ahead and do a poll. If you guys want to go ahead and participate, go ahead and just go ahead and click on the right top hand corner of the screen, and you'll see a little icon there. You just click on that and it'll give you a couple options to choose from. So let's see how good your prediction skills are. Go ahead and tell me who Manny Pacquiao is going to most likely face next. Jesse Vargas, Danny Garcia, Crawford Postal winner, or even Adrian Broner, or none of the above. Go ahead and make your pick, and that's all I got for now, guys. I'm on to the next one.
This is Bobby, and you're watching Dante's Boxing Nation.